Chris is going to talk to us today, and he holds a master's degree of business from CSU and a certificate in DEI from Cornell. He's been 20 years of professional experience, worked in higher education, local government, volunteer leadership, community engagement, inclusive practices, and co-led systems-wide change. He currently serves as the Community Programs Manager at the Bohemian Foundation, supporting special initiatives and response grant-making in foundation and program goals areas. He lives here in Fort Collins and enjoys spending time hiking and traveling. So Chris is going to talk to us about GiveNext, right?
I heard about the microphone, so. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for having me, and thank you, Denise, for the invite to come and speak. First and foremost, I just wanted to share that it's a pleasure to be here to speak about GiveNext, specifically with an organization that's focused on service and engagement, just like Fort Collins Foothills Rotary. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what GiveNext does, but also about the program's impact over the last 13 years. And so I'm excited to share this with you. And from there, I'll just also share a little bit about me. I was supposed to be a teacher. I graduated from UNC. And so back in 2008, I graduated from UNC, and I was supposed to be a teacher. And so this, working with GiveNext, gives me the opportunity to work with youth now in a different way and in a different role. And so with that, I'll share a little bit about GiveNext now. GiveNext started in 2012 here in Larimer County, and it was actually based on the Community 101 program, or the El Pomar Youth in Leadership and Civic Engagement programs. This program is a school-based grant-making program in 33 schools across Larimer County. It's in every every public middle and high school. And so what's really cool about it is that it encompasses the 3 school districts, and it gives youth in middle school and in high school the opportunity to really make funding decisions and decide on who they would like to fund and which nonprofits are doing the work that they believe in most. The program goals are here listed on the slide, but first and foremost are to shift power to youth. And that's how we give them the opportunity to really make the grant-making decisions, write their own mission statements, and then really invite nonprofits to engage with them, whether that's through interviews, site visits, or any of these other opportunities. The second goal area is to understand complex social issues, and that really is an opportunity for them to learn more about what's going on in our local community and how they can make an impact on that. And the third, and I think one of the most important, and I guess that's why it's up there also, is for them to build positive connections with each other and with the community. And when we look at some of the data from our community, we know that they're not connecting, that youth are not connecting as much as they used to. And so giving them the opportunity to connect with each other and with members of our community really is a powerful opportunity for them to continue to become engaged. As I shared before, it's in every public middle and high school across Larimer County, and we serve about 650 youth annually. This here is the 2024-2025 impact of the program, and it showcases the impact since inception. And so you'll see here that it started again in 2012, but we've served, as of this year, instead of 4,700 students, we've served more than 5,300 students who are participating in the program. We've served 274 classrooms. As I shared before, 33 classrooms are participating this year. And in this year's nonprofit engagement includes 56 nonprofits who joined us for Kickoff Day, and I'll share a little bit more about what Kickoff Day is in a second. But 56 nonprofits joined us for Kickoff Day and shared with youth the importance of the work that they were doing and got to learn from them also what they were interested in. And then 91 nonprofits applied for grant funding this year, which is going to be a little bit around like $170,000. And then, and important to share here, since the program's inception, the program has given out $1,372,000, or sorry, yes, through youth grant making. But this year, on top of the fundraising that youth have the opportunity to do, the NOCO Changemakers have selected GiveNext as their fundraising as their fundraising partner. Is that better? As their fundraising partner, and really giving them the opportunity to double the impact that youth are making. So as youth fundraise $10,000, they're going to double that in this coming year. One of the interesting things that I wanted to share was that the young people that participate in this program have really shared different opportunities that they are most interested in, whether that's mental health and well-being, safety and justice, economic stability, including housing and homelessness, or food insecurity. And what we continue to see at that top level is that youth are really interested in supporting each other's mental health. Over the last 5 years, we've really seen how they continue to see they continue to say that is their most important kind of category area, followed by that economic stability, and then really looking at safety and justice as those programs as well. So really looking at survivors of abuse and supporting them in finding their way back into society. And as of this year, we looked at the mission statements that they completed in November, and of the 33 classrooms, 19 selected mental health as their primary focus area. I wanted to share a little bit about how the program is run. Bohemian Foundation administers the program, so through folks like me, we manage the administration and the evaluation of the program. We get to connect with teachers, we get to train and engage them, we get to support nonprofits in their engagement with the program, and then we also get to hear and learn from the students on a daily basis. We also have an advisory committee, which Denise Juliana is a member of our advisory committee, which is a group of local community members who care very deeply about this work and provide us insights and then also support our fundraising efforts. Donors are the primary, again, another primary focus of this program, in that donors provide the $5,000 that each one of the classrooms gets to grant make, and also get to learn more about what youth care about through their fundraising. Nonprofits open their doors for students to learn and engage in the community, and then the NOCO Foundation actually holds the fund for GiveNext, so they're our partner in that way. And lastly, you'll see here that our 2025-26 Youth Advisory Committee is on the screen right there. They have the opportunity to truly share with us different insights about the program, and so after every piece, we continue to ask them about feedback, get insights from them, and then make the program better. Last year, and for the last 3 years actually, they've asked us for a full day experience. So prior to this past year, high schoolers only got to be at kickoff day in the morning, and then middle schoolers got to be at kickoff day in the afternoon. And they just said, we want more time to connect with nonprofits. We want more time to learn about issues in our community. We want more times to connect with each other. And so we gave them a full day experience. We made mixed middle and high school groups. And instead of having one nonprofit fair, we had 2 nonprofit fairs, and we showcased issues from a community-wide and a county-wide impact area. So we had speakers that could speak to the issues that are facing youth and community in Larimer County and in Fort Collins, but from that county-wide perspective, so that youth could see that and then engage with nonprofits with that perspective. Okay. So GiveNext, like I shared before, is a year-long experience. Youth get the opportunity to attend a fall kickoff day and learn more about the local community issues that are affecting our community. They identify a community need that they wish to make an impact on. They then create a classroom mission statement with their friends. And so some schools, what's really cool about the program is that every school is slightly different. At some schools, it's a club. At other schools, it's in a classroom. And then at other schools, it's called a leadership, so it's part of like a key club or something like that. And then at other schools, it's a mixture of classrooms. So as an example, at Lesher, it's a really neat opportunity where they have Lesher's a middle school here in Fort Collins. They have an ESL 6th grade class and an 8th grade writing composition and reading composition class, and they merge those two together so that youth have the opportunity to socialize with each other and do reading comprehension together, which is really pretty cool. And then after they really create that mission statement, they have the opportunity to fundraise additional dollars together in order to increase their program and their classroom's impact. And then they review applications, they interview nonprofits. Many of them do site visits to nonprofit locations, and then they make real decisions and award grants at the end of the school year to the nonprofits that they feel match their mission statements the most. And it's just, if you've ever had a chance to go to one of those award ceremonies, I left crying at one, I left laughing at one. It's just a really good opportunity to really engage with youth and learn more about what they care about. I told you I'd talk a little bit more about Kickoff Day. Kickoff Day just happened actually on October 28th. And we had the opportunity this year, like I said before, to do a full day experience. We had 2 nonprofit fairs based on nonprofit impact areas, and this year's experience was also updated to include more time for people to interact intentionally across that entire landscape of classrooms. Because before it was just the high schools meeting and then just the middle schools meeting, but they had the opportunity to sit in this room with like 700 plus students and really have the opportunity to share what they're interested in, what they care about, and really just connect with each other. We also had an awesome keynote speaker. Mandy Harvey is an incredible young woman who actually is hard of hearing and actually started going deaf when she was 18. She was also the golden buzzer at America's Got Talent, and she had the opportunity to share with youth that anyone can make a difference, right? It doesn't matter what your abilities are. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter really where you come from. It just matters like what you do with your life moving forward. And I'll tell you that the the Q&A lines on both sides were about 20 plus students, and it was mostly sharing with Mandy about how well they felt seen by having someone like that. And so we're very intentional in who we bring to engage with our youth. And this program happens at CSU every year. The last piece that I really wanted to share with you is that donor experience. We're lucky enough that Fort Collins Foothills Rotary has donated to GiveNext at least 4 times in 2015-16, 16-17, 22-23 school year, and in the 23-24 school year. And I just wanted to share with you that 100% of your donation goes straight back into the community through classroom grants. So all of the administration is actually funded by Bohemian Foundation, and so all of the dollars that you give to the program go directly back into the community, but through the lens of youth. And so donors inspire youth by centering their voices and giving them the opportunity to make these real grant-making decisions. And then you also have the opportunity to gain insight into the community issues that youth care about most. And I think that that's what's really powerful, is that we get to learn about what they care about. At Kickoff Day this year, Jessica Plummer was one of our speakers around mental health, and she actually posted on Facebook these keynotes that youth wanted adults to know about their mental health. And it's really, really powerful. It's actually on our Facebook page if you wanna go visit that there. But one of the things that they shared is you don't always know what's right. And so they had the opportunity to share with us that like they can be right sometimes, right? And they want that voice in order to share that they have that voice. And then just the last thing is that we help youth understand the impact that they can have on local issues. And so by giving to this program, it really is an opportunity for us to give to that next generation. We just heard from an incredible young woman just a few minutes ago, and these are the youth that are leading these programs. These are the youth that are sharing their insights, and these youth believe in this community. You know, one of the things that I'll share really quickly about our youth advisory committee is that last year, we connected with them and we said, "How do you talk about GiveNext with your peers?" And they said, "Oh, well, you know, some of them have really advanced language already." And they said, "Well, I talk about how philanthropy is XYZ." Other youth just say, like, this is an opportunity for us to give back to our community. Other ones said, I just really care about making a difference in my community, and I can learn about those things at GiveNext. And then one young person in that group said, well, when I talk about GiveNext, I don't just talk about GiveNext as a program that people can participate in. I talk about GiveNext as we fund programs that they can get services from. And so for us, it was like, oh, okay. And we were going to talk about a poster, right? Like creating a poster for the classroom. And they said, well, is there something that I can hand someone that showcases all of the resources and services that are out in the community? It was like, okay, well then this is more than just us promoting a program to young people to get involved, and more about us engaging youth around the services and opportunities that are available in Fort Collins and across Larimer County, and really engaging them in those spaces and giving them the opportunity to take advantage of those resources. And I'll close with this. Many times, from what I've seen from this program, is that young people specifically fund issues that are impacting their classmates. And so when we see a program like Bill Reed funding safety and justice programming, it's because one of their peers has gone through some type of abuse. And really the intentionality around these award ceremonies are super powerful. And that what I'll share is that when I went to the Bill Reed Award ceremony last year, they not only talked about why they were funding these programs, they also, as an arts magnet, wrote individual poems to the nonprofits, focusing on why they gave them that funding, and then did they also painted portraits for them, which was incredible. But you get to see this type of intentionality from young people, and it's something that, as a young person that was involved myself, I'm still like, wow, I wasn't that involved. And I didn't get to see something like this. And so this type of program really makes a difference, not only now, but in the future, in that you're helping to fund and engage that next generation of leaders that's going to make a difference here in Fort Collins and across Larimer County. Thank you so much for your time.
We have questions?
Thank you for your presentation. I have a couple of questions here for you, though.
Definitely.
The funds for the grants, they come from the monies that are generated by your organization to get together so that the students can make the grants themselves, correct?
Yes. So all of the funding. So annually, it's about 165,000 or 170,000 in funding. All of that funding comes from local donors.
Perfect.
So individuals, foundations, funds, and local businesses sponsor the program. Bohemian Foundation funds the administration of the program. So my salary is paid for by Bohemian Foundation so that I can run and evaluate the program. But all of these dollars then go directly back into the community through classroom grant making.
Yeah, that was my other question, was how is the Bohemian Foundation involved? And it sounds like it's with the administration, not with any fund matching or doubling or tripling or anything like that.
Well,
it's just with the administration. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you think about it, it's about 75,000 annually to administer the program. Mm-hmm. Bohemian covers that administration, as well as any reimbursements for bus transportation, for classrooms to go and visit sites, for kickoff day.
Sure.
All of that is covered by Bohemian.
Great. And then the grants that were handed out last year total how much? I'm sorry, I forgot.
It was 190,000 just last year. It was 191,623. So that's the exact number.
Okay.
But it was about 190,000, and that included both the donor dollars that were given to the classrooms as well as their own fundraising.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Who else?
Chris, what a great program, and thank
I
you
agree.
for your passion and heart for it, because it's, I think, something we all, when I say this, I feel like I'm my parents, but we all have expressed concern at different points about how young people have an opportunity to engage back in their communities and what those barriers are. So I think this is really amazing. Is there a service component to this. So, for example, this year Rotary, we want to do an epic day of service throughout our district on May 16th. And we want to involve the communities as a whole. And I just see this as a really cool potential partnership. So can you talk about that service component,
Definitely.
please?
Yes, there is a service component as part of the grant applications that we collect on behalf of young people for to match them with the potential grantees that they're going to be funding. We also ask specifically about volunteer opportunities for young people. And what we've heard from many of the granted organizations is that young people continue to volunteer there, whether that's Loveland Youth Gardeners. And then also one example of a program that actually has expanded in Larimer County because of their engagement with GiveNext is SAVA, which is the Sexual Assault Victims Advocacy Organization, regularly gets funding from GiveNext. And so they have continued and grown the number of trainings that they do in middle and high schools, specifically because of that engagement. And what's really cool is that last year we actually heard, I was at one of the award ceremonies and Sava was there, and I was just talking, I was kind of meandering around, and the young people in the classroom said, "We've funded you for the last 3 years because we care about the work that you do." And so they're very much like engaging, not only through volunteerism, but engaging with them in that way of like, we care about these programs, we want to continue to fund them.
Chris, great program and great leadership. That's fantastic. We're privileged to live in this county to be able to have that. How are the kids selected, or how are they chosen in the schools to participate?
Definitely. As I shared, every classroom is different. And so in some schools, they're chosen based on their participation in a classroom. In other schools, like Fort Collins High School as an example, is a club. So they meet at lunch and they get to self-select into the program. At other schools, it's part of what's called a leadership, and so counselors support engaging and picking and selecting specific students to be participants in that. And then at other schools, it's kind of a mix and match between multiple classrooms, and so it just depends on who's kind of connected in that year. What I think is really cool about this format is that everyone is different, yes, and it gives different youth the opportunity to also connect, right? When I first started with Bohemian Foundation and I was learning about GiveNext, I heard, one of the first things that I heard was that like, non-traditional leaders are participants in GiveNext. And that like kind of raised an ear for me, and I was like, what does that mean, right? Like, what does it mean for non-traditional leaders to be leading GiveNext and participating in GiveNext? And I think that what it meant and what I've learned is that many of the students who participate in GiveNext aren't the students who are also in XYZ multiple other programs, but also specific youth that don't always have the opportunity for leadership are also participants in GiveNext. So as an example, at Rocky Mountain High School, a severe intellectual developmental needs classroom is the GiveNext classroom. And what's really powerful about that is that when I went to that award ceremony, I'm not gonna lie, I was crying, because one of the young people specifically was so afraid to stand up at the front that was and present, but wanted to present because they cared so much about the nonprofits and the work that those nonprofits were doing, that they started by just taking 5 minutes and standing like this, and then turned around and said, okay, I'm gonna talk about X nonprofit, right? And so like, you really do get to see, when I went to the Lesher classroom, and I talked about this earlier, when I went to the Lesher classroom and I heard young people speaking Spanish, and I said, hola, ¿cómo están? They looked at me like I was the first person who had ever talked to them in that way, right? And they participated last year. Those kids are back this year, right? It's an opportunity for young people who may not always feel like they belong to find a place where they can be part of something that showcases not only that they belong in this community, but they can make an impact on this community. And so I hope that answered some of your question. Yeah.
Al was those of Larimer County. I just wanted to say a thank you for all that you do and all that the students do. We were a recipient of one of your grants last year, specifically for our behavioral health team and our social, emotional, and trauma-informed programming. So we so appreciate that investment, and we hear what young people are saying about the need for increased services in behavioral health, and we're doing all that we can, and we really appreciate that peer-to-peer investment. Seeing young people invest in one another in that way is really powerful. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Real quick question. I understand the cycle of the dollars, the donation from all different places in the community, and then the granting. How many grants again last year?
Last year there were 86 grants
86,
across
yeah.
at that time there were 34. So there were 34 classrooms last year, but only because the 2 classrooms at one school kind of merged into one this year. But yeah, 86. Sorry, last year there were 45 grants across 86 nonprofits.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, and then the
Maybe the other way.
question is I get the inflow, outflow, and then Bohemian funds, underwrites essentially the hard costs. Do you guys have I don't want to say rainy day fund, but like a core fund set aside for all the hiccups or extra dollars, that kind of thing?
So what I'll share about that is that in the past we did, and over the last few years, not enough. I'm not going to say not enough fundraising. Enough fundraising was done to support classrooms, but over the last few years, that fund all of the funds are housed at NOCO Foundation. That fund has actually gone down little by little, and so what we're trying to do this year is fundraise an additional $50,000 in order to kind of put that rainy day back in there. In the case that 1 year we have less fundraising dollars available.
What is fundraising? You call me and say, Bob, we need your money.
I can, yeah. Bob, we need your money.
Careful what you ask for.
You used to call me and go, you don't know me,
But
do other events,
yeah, so actually we have, so Denise, I think, can also share a little bit about this, but we have our advisory committee is actually our primary fundraiser. So these are all volunteers from the local community who are engaged, connected folks who have brought either their relationships or we've connected them to specific other individuals so that they could help fund or help fundraise and or steward those relationships on our behalf. Additionally to that, I'll share that I personally apply for grants from local organizations, from banks, from credit unions. Sorry about that. In order to increase that funding.
A couple quick comments. First, in my opinion, the biggest benefit that as a society that we have gained from COVID was the fact of focus on mental health.
Yeah.
And as a former mental health professional, I'm thrilled to hear that the kids take ownership of that and focus on that also. The other thought is that I think one of the long-term benefits of your program that I hadn't thought about until you were talking about it is you're in essence training and educating the youth on how to be involved with nonprofits when they become adults too.
Yep.
How to be on boards, how to be volunteers, et cetera. I think that's huge.
I'll leave the comment there. That's perfect.
Always on the other side of the room. Yeah, right.
I was just going to add to that it's so student driven that and the advisory committee, the student one, I think they came up with at this year's kickoff day, we had a panel on careers in nonprofits. So in addition to giving and planning and impacting, maybe I want to do this for a living. And I thought that was good.
Exactly. I'm going to say 90% of what Kickoff Day was about this year was in large part based on what our Youth Advisory Committee asked for and what students asked for throughout the program. We do a pre-program and a post-program survey, and we really get to just kind of learn about what they're interested in and what their experience of the program is, and then what they would like for us to change. They all asked for that full day experience. They asked about the careers in nonprofit. They asked for a donor panel, which Denise was part of that donor panel because they wanted more opportunities to connect with the people that are giving the dollars that allow them to make grants. And then they also asked for a Mission Statements 101. They asked for this, right? They wanted someone to come in and tell them how they can best write mission statements that are targeted so that they get the right number of grant applications and the grant applications for the issue areas that they want to fully serve and impact. Because I'll tell you that some of the ones that we saw last year, those classrooms got about 40 applications to read, which doesn't seem like a ton, but it is a ton when you're meeting once a week. And so we were able to bring a lot of those mission statements a little bit more targeted this year. And some classrooms ended up with 12 to 15 instead of 40. So they're doing the work, they're leading the work, and we're just privileged to work alongside them.
The other thing I wanted to point out is that businesses give, individuals give, as Chris said, and some of those donors have an interest in being more involved with the students than writing a check. So there are opportunities for that. When, we've been in the program, Patrick and I have been in the program since the beginning, and, Patrick is not as involved with that type of work, but I go visit the classroom for a couple times during the year. I help around mission statement time and other times just to see how it works, and it'll make you cry.
Other opportunities are also during that kind of decision-making time. We've had donors who come in and actually help students read nonprofit financials. They help students read applications. They teach the students about what overhead means, really giving them the opportunity to share their expertise and insight with young people as young people make these incredible decisions.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much
Thank y'all
for
so
everything.
much for the time. Yeah.
Thank you very much. No, really appreciate it. So, Chris, in your honor, we are going to make a donation to Book Trust. I don't know if you're familiar with Book Trust or not. So Book Trust, gives books to kids who can't afford them otherwise. And
I was one of those kids. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. So hopefully that's a good way to motivate that. And I think one of the huge takeaways here is that I think there are just so many ways that our club and all the Rotary clubs in Fort Collins can partner with you. I mean, first of all, I think that anyone who participates should consider RILA.
I literally was just asking Denise about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is that's a no-brainer because one of the things in RILA that we try to do is have a wide variety. It's not always just the student leaders, right? Yep. We want a really broad group. So please, let's figure out a good way to network on that. And then Rotaract clubs, that's the other part of Interact is what our service organization, and we're really working to get good people in there. So that would be another great way. So wonderful.
I learned about RILA just today, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many GiveNext students that could participate.
Exactly, 100%. So, well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. Great job.